So looking at the lab for today. So this is what you want to work on for the rest of class today, and tomorrow we'll have a lab day, so you can work on this as well. If you remember right, this is due at the end of the day tomorrow, right? I think it's actually due midnight tomorrow, so you have class time and you have some other class time to work on as well. Cool? Okay. So short gist, some people have already started looking at it, but here's kind of what's going on. If you installed when you installed MySQL, you should have gotten a example database or two already. I'll pull up MySQL here. And so there it is. It's called Sequila. And you'll see that there's a bunch of tables in there. Basically, this is for a movie rental store. It's kind of tracking their inventory. What movies do they have on stock? What movies have they rented out? Etc., etc., etc. So that's kind of the purpose of this. So the store, the fictional store, is named Sequila. You can kind of think about it as modeled off of Best Buy, right? Which isn't existent anymore. But it's kind of that idea. So modeled for a DVD rental store, as it says here. If you do want to read more about the database itself, that example database, there's a link there to the official documentation over on the MySQL page. It should be installed in Community Server. If it's not installed, if you didn't get that Sequila database, if it's not showing up on here, call me over and we'll get it sorted out. We'll get it fixed so that you have that database. Fair forewarning, as you work through that, there's a good chance that you may end up changing or modifying that database. You may need to at some point restore it or basically restore it from the backup. The short answer of how to do that is you're going to go through the installer, the MySQL installer, and update it that way. So if you do need to, if something does happen to it and you need to restore that to its original state, I believe if you go in here, you'll see there's a few options in the MySQL installer called samples and examples. So if you go click on that, and I believe you can hit reconfigure here and walk through that process provided the password. And it'll kind of recreate that script, regenerate that database if you need to for some reason. Ideally, you don't want to lose data as you're doing this, so definitely watch for that. But if something does happen where you lose a whole table or such, that's how you're going to go and restore it, is through the installer. Okay, so that's kind of that. So as far as the exercise itself goes, it's broken down into basically two parts. There's a first exercise here, which is working with querying this database. So using the Sequila database, I'm asking you to write a few different queries, a few different SQL statements to answer some questions, right? So we've got 7 queries here that you're going to write as a total. It does give you some expectations about like what column should it return, how should it be ordered, and some hints on some of these as well as where you might need to pull the database data from and things like that. So that's that first part, is 7 queries. You're going to end up saving that, I believe, to a SQL file. I thought I said in here what the name of that file should be. And I may have to have that in there. So in here, So call that file Sequila queries.sql. I thought I had saved that. And this one would be so for the second part, there's just 6 queries here, 6 sort of CRUD statements, right? So you can see there's a mix of at inserts, there's a mix of update statements, there's delete statements, right? So at the end of the day, you're going to run a script for that. Cool. Okay. So that's kind of your lab for today and this work. Any questions? Okay, go for it. Yes, Don. Oh, if you're looking for that, there's 2 ways to get to it on Inside Ranken. So if I go here, you can either go to the main page itself, and it'll be Lab 01 right here. So if you go to the main page, they'll be listed there. You can also find it under coursework